In this unit, we will talk about Microsoft Windows operating system. Microsoft Windows is a family of operating systems by Microsoft. They can run on several types of platforms such as servers, embedded devices, and most typically on personal computers. Over the past 2 decades, Microsoft Windows products have evolved from a single one-size-fits-all desktop operating system into a diverse family of operating systems and mobile technologies. Microsoft first introduced an operating environment named Windows in 1985 as an add-on to MS-DOS in response to the growing interest in graphical user interfaces. Microsoft Windows came to dominate the world's personal computer market, overtaking Mac OS, which had been introduced in 1984. As of October 2013, the most recent versions of Windows for personal computers, mobile devices, server computers, and embedded devices are respectively Windows 8.1, Windows Phone 8, Windows Server 2012 R2, and Windows Embedded 8. The term Windows collectively describes any or all of several generations of Microsoft operating systems products. Microsoft has taken 2 parallel routes in operating systems. One route has been the home user and the other has been the professional IT user. The dual route has generally led to the home versions with more eye candy and less functionality in networking and security, and professional versions with less eye candy and better networking and security. The first independent version of Microsoft Windows, version 1.0, released in November in 1985, lacked a degree of functionality and achieved little popularity. Windows 1.0 did not provide a complete operating system, rather it extended MS-DOS. Microsoft Windows version 2.0 was released in November in 1987 and was slightly more popular than its predecessor. Windows 2.03 had changed the OS from tiled windows to overlapping windows. The result of this change led to Apple Computer filing a suit against Microsoft alleging infringement on Apple's copyright. Microsoft Windows version 3.0, released in 1990, was the first Microsoft Windows version to achieve broad commercial success, selling 2 million copies in the first 6 months. It featured improvements to the user interface and to multitasking capabilities. In August 1995, Microsoft released Windows 95, which made further changes to the user interface and was the first Windows version to utilize multitasking. In July 1993, Microsoft released Windows NT based on a new kernel. NT was considered to be the professional operating system. NT and the Windows non-professional line would later be fused together to create Windows XP. The next in line was Microsoft Windows 98, released in June in 1998. Substantially criticized for its slowness compared with Windows 95, many of its basic problems were later rectified with the release of Windows 98 Second Edition in 1999. As part of its professional line, Microsoft released Windows 2000 in February 2000. The consumer version following Windows 98 was Windows ME, or Windows Millennium Edition. Released in September 2000, Windows Millennium attempted to implement a number of new technologies for Microsoft. Most notably publicized was Universal Plug-and-Play. However, the operating system was substantially criticized for its lack of compatibility and stability. In October 2001, Microsoft released Windows XP, a version built on the Windows NT kernel that also retained the consumer-oriented usability of Windows 95 and its successors. This new version was widely praised in computer magazines. It shipped in 2 distinct editions, Home and Professional, the former lacking many of the superior security and networking features of the Professional edition. In April 2003, Windows Server 2003 was introduced, replacing the Windows 2000 line of server products with a number of new features and a strong focus on security. This was followed in December 2005 by Windows Server 2003 R2. Windows Vista, the successor to Windows XP, was released in January 2007. It contained a number of new features, from a redesigned shell and user interface to significant technical changes, with a particular focus on security features. It is available in a number of different editions and has been subject to some criticism. Windows Server 2008, released in 2008, was originally known as Windows Server, codenamed Longhorn. Windows Server 2008 built on the technological and security advances first introduced with Windows Vista and is significantly more modular than its predecessor, Windows Server 2003. Windows Server 2012, formerly codenamed Windows Server 8, is the current release of Windows Server. In 2009, Microsoft released Windows 7. Unlike its predecessor, Windows Vista, which introduced a large number of new features, Windows 7 was intended to be a more focused, incremental upgrade to the Windows line, with the goal of being compatible with applications and hardware which Windows Vista was not at the time. Windows 7 has multi-touch support, a redesigned Windows shell with a new taskbar referred to as a superbar, a home networking system called Home Group, and performance improvements. Windows 8, the successor to Windows 7, was released on October 28, 2012. A number of significant changes were made on Windows 8, including the introduction of a user interface based around Microsoft Metro design language with optimizations for touch-based devices such as tablets and all-in-one PCs. These changes include the Start screen, which uses large cells that are more convenient for touch interactions and allow for the display of continually updated information, and a new class of applications which are designed primarily for use on touch-based devices. An update to Windows 8 called Windows 8.1 was released on October 17, 2013 and includes features such as new live tile sizes, deeper SkyDrive integration, the return of the traditional Start button, and many other revisions.